right, the Action People's Party has described the off-cycle governorship election in Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa as a sham, stressing that the process was characterized by massive rigging and electoral fraud. The opposition party, while electing a 30-member executive to run its affairs for another 4 years, says it is preparing to wrestle power from the ruling APC in 2027. The national chairman of the party, Uche Nnadi, urges party officials to take advantage of the seeming failure of the ruling parties and launch the party big in their respective states.
And it is no gainsaying that the audacious act of these electoral robbers strengthen the very foundation of the existence of our beloved nation, Nigeria. The attainment of Nigeria, of our dream, can only be ultimately be achieved or possible if we work tirelessly by repositioning our party for future elections and ultimately winning the coup. Our names will be written in the annals of history as men and women who brought this much talked about change in our nation if we heed to the clarion call of the party for commitment, dedication, and loyalty.
And we have in the studio Silvanus Namang, who is APC Publicity Secretary, actually in our off-site studio in Plateau State, and Emmanuel Mense Madaki, who is a lawyer for PDP in Plateau State. But okay, Emmanuel Mense Madaki is here already. Silvanus is being mic'd, and as soon as he's ready, he would join this conversation. Very warm welcome to Newsnight, Emmanuel.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, mixed grill in Plateau State. You know, while the APC supporters are jubilating, the PDP supporters are licking their wounds. But good that you still express confidence, you know, in the Nigerian judiciary and say, all hope not lost yet when the matter goes to the Supreme Court. But the rest of this matter, why are you not satisfied with it? The judgment says there's been so much disobedience of the eternal, you know, party issues of the PDP in your state.
Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity given to me to at least express our position in respect of what has transpired. And then first and foremost, you discover that issues in relation to Plateau State are actually issues bordering preponderantly on the party leadership. Of course, issues relating to pre-election matters. But of course, I will take you through a journey so that you will understand.
You have to do it exactly. Very fast, eh?
I will take you through a journey so that you understand the nitty-gritty of the issues in respect of Plateau State. Plateau State is such a special state in respect of electioneering activities. And when it comes to PDP, right from the days of 1999 till date, PDP has been the most likable party in the state. And it will interest you to know that it was in the year 2020, PDP had her internal squabbles, and PDP conducted a congress in the state. And after the congress in Plateau State in 2020, the aggrieved members of the party, led by Bitrus Kaze, approached the Plateau State High Court. And after looking at the issues, despite the fact that they are actually intra-party activities and being internal affairs of the party, they are non-justiciable in law. But the court still went ahead to say, indeed, we know we don't have the jurisdiction to entertain these matters, but then we are going to make an order for the sake of democratic processes, go back and conduct another Congress. Insofar as this issue of leadership tussle is concerned, try and sanitize your house by conducting election in respect of State Executive Committee alone. That did not extend to Ward Executive Committee, Local Government Executive Committee, Zonal Executive Committee, and the National Executive Committee. The order of the court was restrictive in that it only pointed out to the State Executive Committee, which of course, Bitrus Kaze was the person who was actually leading the delegation of the State Executive, aggrieved members of the State Executive Committee. That will actually take you further to understanding that the court, in its wisdom, nullified the first Congress and ordered a fresh Congress. That Congress,
and the PDP in Plateau State in 2020 obeyed that court order?
PDP in Plateau State on the 25th September 2021, in line with the extant provisions of the party sent her delegation First, they set a caretaker committee, and after the caretaker committee, the time was actually over. They sent her national delegation to go to Plateau State for the purposes of sanitizing the party and conducting the state executive committee election that brought the present chairman of the party, Honorable Chris Adokuchili Hassan, who actually won that election on the 25th September 2021. It will interest you to know further that apart from conducting the election, INEC, being the umpire that is saddled with the sacred responsibility constitutionally to monitor political parties' activities, political parties' primaries, and other financing of the party, went to the ground, monitored the congresses, and produced a report. That report was tendered at the tribunal. The tribunal looked at it. In fact, it will interest you to know that it was even the APC that came with a report to say that indeed, PDP conducted the Congress on the 25th September 2021. The tribunal in her wisdom found that if you are saying that there was no Congress, where then did you get your report? The report was tendered. Exhibit Q, I think Exhibit Q or something, 2R something, 2R1 or 2R2 was tendered at the tribunal. That was not even enough. The PDP went further to produce a video clip. The same Bitrus Kazi who participated in the repeat Congress and who was actually the plaintiff in Exhibit P1. Exhibit P1 is the order of the Plateau State High Court that ordered for the Congresses. Bitrus Kazi participated in the repeat Congress. Bitrus Kazi, after the repeat Congress, he was number 2 under serial number 1 in the repeat Congress. He never complained. He never went back to the High Court to say, my Lord, the order you asked us to comply with, we did not comply with it.
So fully. Where is the appeal court getting all this from now? To say that because the appeal court was succinct. It says the governor, Mufwang, has no structure. Now
look at the party has no structure. Now look at the finding in the wisdom or in actually the wisdom of the Court of Appeal Justices. You know, they saw the report. The report was before them. They even analyzed the report in the judgment by saying that, and how can this compliance be full? We have 17 local governments in Plateau State and 12 local governments were excluded, 5 participated. And it was shown in evidence that 17 local governments participated, but for legal reasons. And it actually conforms with the party constitution that some local government executives were excluded because of legal tussle in those places. Only the ESCO of the local governments. But they use ad hoc delegates in those local governments. They use special delegates in those local governments as provided by the Constitution. Therefore, it leaves you with a simple signification that all the 17 local governments participated in the repeat Congress. None was excluded. That report was before the tribunal. And what is even more, the jurisdiction of the tribunal, which is what the Court of Appeal is saddled of review in the judgment, is as entrenched under Section 285, subsection 2 of the Constitution, that there shall be for the state governorship election petition tribunal, which shall be saddled with the cardinal responsibility of looking at matters arising from the conduct of the election, whether the person was validly elected. But then the APC, in presenting their petition under Section 134 of the Electoral Act, they forgot that there is an innovation under the Electoral Act. And that is why Section 134, subsection 3 says, for you to disqualify a person, you must pin it to the constitutional provision. And what is the constitutional provision for the qualification of a candidate for the governorship? In Section 177, there are 4 cardinal things to be fulfilled by a candidate. 1, he must be a citizen of Nigeria by birth. 2, he must have been educated up to the level of school certificate. 3, he must be a member of a political party and sponsored by that political party. 4, he must attain the age that is required. It is not shown anywhere that Mutfwan is not a citizen of Nigeria, that Mutfwan has not been sponsored by PDP, that Mutfwan has not attained the educational requirements as required by law, and that he has not attained the age. It was not discredited, it was not shown anywhere, even under the heat of cross-examination. It tells you that this judgment runs foul of the law. It is not supported by any argument presented in the law, because if you check, the tribunal, having the petitioners having found the petition under Section 134, subsection 1A. What does the law say? The law is clear that there are 3 grounds upon which a person can question an election at the Election Petition Tribunal. 1, that as at the time of the election, the person was not qualified to contest. 2, that the election was marred by irregularities and substantial non-compliance with the Electoral Act. 3, that the person whose election is questioned did not get the majority of lawful votes cast. It is not shown anywhere that Mutfwang did not get the lawful majority of votes cast at the election. 2, it is not been shown anywhere.
Well,
that
all these are not the issues, that the appeal courts raised. But let me just say that we've now been joined by Silvanus Namang, who is the publicity secretary of the All Progressives Congress in Plateau State. Let's go to him in the offside studio. Namang, your party members, supporters in Plateau State and all over Nigeria are saying congratulations that a big diadem in your trophy rack now. How do you react to the Court of Appeal's judgment?
Good evening. Happy to be here. Honestly, this is one of the greatest moments for the entire people of Plateau State, who are celebrating, as you might have seen. I watched it on your, what you showed before, and you can see the jubilation and how people are really rejoicing over this victory that the APC recorded today at the appeal tribunal. Having said this, I just watch what the last speaker said. I think this is crying over spilled milk. What has happened today has happened. The people of Plateau State have been very patient with the PDP in Plateau State over the kind of propaganda that they brought to bear as a result of all the tribunal sittings. You see, the issue is, let these people retrace their steps, go and do the right thing. You cannot make your rights, your wrongs to be right. And the PDP, the way it is behaving in Plateau State is as if it is a law unto itself. This has to do with the law. And the law is not a respecter of sentiments or whatever you believe in. The law remains the law. And the judges, very experienced judges in their decisions, rightly decided by obtaining the earlier victory of the PDP at the first tribunal that the PDP does not have a structure. And this issue of lack of structure by the PDP and lack of respect for court orders has been there since 2021. I heard the kind of lies and tissues of lies they continue to churn to the public. You see, it is said that lies told many times make people to believe. But I think from what has taken place today, I expect that the PDP should really get itself and begin to prepare for the next election, because there are, since 2021, there have been 22 judgments that have been passed. The first judgment by Justice S.P. Gang of the Plateau State High Court, he was so magnanimous to the PDP by telling them to go and put their house in order and conduct an acceptable Congress. They refused to listen. And when it came to the local government elections of 2021, October 2021, Justice Ishaku Kunda told them the same thing, that they don't have any structure. As such, they cannot contest in the local government elections. At that period, if it were the APC, we would have swallowed our pride to go back and do the right thing. But the PDP in Plateau State, based on its serial impunity, does not believe in the rule of law, and yet they want justice. And we have seen the kind of things that have happened, shameful display that has ridiculed Plateau, has demarcated Plateau, which is the home of peace and tourism. You see all this build up. They want us to have a crisis on the Plateau, but thank God, from what you have seen today, Plateau is very peaceful, and it will remain peaceful. No matter whatever happens, politics will come and end, but Plateau State remains.
Yes,
the people
indeed.
of
Plateau State remains, and Plateau State is peaceful indeed. Yes. But let me come back to you, Emmanuel. In this judgment, do you see any kind of curiosity in it? Some analysts probably would say, oh, from your own analysis, the court is now becoming the interloper here, not even, taking into cognizance the ruling of the Supreme Court in Obi versus Bola Tinubu and the rest. Do you see are you curious here with the judgment?
Yes, I'm very, very curious in the sense that I know this is just a temporary setback, and going by the provisions of our extant laws governing elections in Nigeria, this is just a temporary setback. And I can tell you for free that going forward to the Supreme Court has set precedents all over the country to tell you that indeed, issues in relation to intra-party activities, you cannot question them. The way and manner a party, conducts our affairs, it is not the duty of the court to actually poke nose into those affairs, to select leaders for a party. And if you go into the sacrosanct provisions of the law, you discover that there are a plethora of Supreme Court decisions that have nailed this issue in the board, that for you to question the nomination and sponsorship of a candidate, it has to be at the Federal High Court. You must, under Section 285 sub 14, which has been replicated in the Electoral Act 2022 as amended, under Section 84 sub 14, that you must be an aspirant who participated in the primaries leading to the selection of that candidate for you to ventilate your grievance. And of course, statutorily, you have 14 days within which to do that. And that is why the Electoral Act has even made it very, very explicit that it is only the Federal High Court that has the onus and the jurisdiction to entertain those matters. In that, you cannot, in the case of JKD and INEC, any activity or any event that precedes the conduct of the election is a pre-election matter. And you cannot come to the election tribunal that has a limited power or limited jurisdiction and scope to look at events. And if you go forward, looking at the law, you discover that what we have, the APC just try to guise or smuggle in disobedience to court order. Under Section 134, there is nowhere it is being said that disobedience to court order, no matter what it is, that it can be a ground for the nullification of an election. I take you, for instance, the same Court of Appeal, Abuja Division, constituted differently. In the case of Askira Uba, the Court of Appeal, it was even an alleged disobedience of a Supreme Court order. But then the tribunal said, look, we do not have powers this is not a place to enforce court orders. If you want to enforce disobedience of a court order, there is the Sheriff and Civil Process Act, the Judgment Enforcement Procedure, wherein you go and enforce the judgment of a court by issuing Forms 48 and 49. The tribunal, in her finding, made allusions to a by-election that was nullified using the 2010 Electoral Act. That is the Basa Just Not by-election, and also the Pangshin South by-election after the death of one of the candidates. But then I beg to disagree with the court. Those decisions were decided based on the 2010 Electoral Act, and the court in those decisions said the reason why the court came to that finding of actually nullifying the election was because there was no evidence before the court to say that PDP complied.
All right, Emmanuel, thanks so very much. Let me quickly come back to you, Silvanos. It looks from the submission here and what you pleaded before the court. Would you say that you've been a beneficiary of a benevolent spirit here?
Yes, very well so. The APC is a very happy beneficiary of what the PDP has inflicted on itself. The mess that it has caused for itself We are so happy about this. And let's say this and in very clear terms. The issues, the cases he is citing outside Plateau, the case, I was at the tribunal this morning and this afternoon. The PDP was clearly told that in the eyes of the law, the PDP does not exist in Plateau State since 2021. So, and in law, as they said, you cannot put something on nothing. And that is the position in Plateau State. It happened in some states. And the PDP wants heavens to fall because it has lost this election. The justices of the Court of Appeal, they acted on precedents. There are so many precedents with regard to the issue of Plateau State. The issues he is quoting is what I should have said. The issue of Jos North Bassa by-election. They were clearly told at the appeal court that they ought not to have contested that election. That was why the victory was awarded to PRP, not even APC. You see, the PDP keeps on blaming the APC, which were innocent over what is happening to them. They caused it for themselves, and they should continue to bear the brunt of what they have caused for itself. I think it is high time we stop accusing the judiciary. The judiciary should not give you judgment just based on your belief or sentiments, just as the PDP believes. The justices, we want to very sincerely commend them for their patience with the PDP in Plateau State. And this afternoon, they descended heavily on the PDP, which is trying to force the hands of the law, which is not possible.
All right.
The PDP has lost this election, and they should go and begin to prepare. Talking about Supreme Court, we are ready to meet them at the Supreme Court. They cannot change the law. The law remains the law. We are confident the APC is going to
Thank you so
obtain
very
victory
much
at the Supreme Court.
Thank you so very much. Emmanuel Mense Madaki is a lawyer and a member of the People's Democratic Party legal team in Plateau State, as well as Silvanus Namang, who is the publicity secretary of the All Progressives Congress also in Plateau State.